to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans, and thank you for listening to another episode here of the DolphinsTalk.com podcast. I am your host, Mike Oliva, joined by Josh Moser of WSVN, South Florida's #1 news station. Josh, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. I think there's some belief in Dolphins Nation. A little bit.
Yeah, got a little bit of hope now with #1 coming back, and we're going to talk about everything from what happened last week, what's going to be happening this week. But first, a quick word from our sponsor.
The DolphinsTalk.com podcast network is sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. International fans, too. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com.
All right, so Miami fell to 2-4 after a loss to Indianapolis. That was 16-10, a game that I think a lot of fans really were frustrated by because Miami, I thought, outplayed them most of the first half and should have had a larger lead going into halftime, and then they don't score at all in the second half. Fumbles at key spots in the game, and the Colts, whose offense was abysmal. Anthony Richardson looked like he'd never thrown a football before, but they found a way to win. And Miami came up a little short. I guess, Josh, what are some of your overall thoughts on that Colts-Miami Dolphins game from last Sunday?
I think just the inability, again, to get the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. I think they each had one target. You gave Tyreek that little end around in the first half. I understand Tyler Huntley is who he is, but you're Mike McDaniel, and you've got to find a way to scheme up to get the ball your best players. That's been the knock with all the quarterbacks that you've used without Tua. Tyreek hasn't had a touchdown since that first game, and Jaylen Waddle hasn't had a touchdown all season. You're simply paying these guys too much money, Mike, to not put the ball in their hands. The one bright spot, obviously, is Jonnu Smith. You know, we knew that he would be a difference maker coming in. He's a pass catcher that they didn't really have at tight end since Mike Gesicki. But I understand Raheem Mostert fumbled. I understand that Alec Ingold fumbled. But these are two guys where you just can't have that happen. I thought Jalen Wright flashed. I would have liked to see him get more touches. I think he was underutilized. And it kind of seems like Jeff Wilson would be on the trading block. I know that there are teams that are interested. I can tell you that Drew Rosenhaus and Jeff Wilson have not asked for a trade. But right now it seems like he's an extra piece that could be expendable as we move close to the deadline in 2 weeks. But defensively, Mike, I mean, you're the #1 passing defense in the league. You're the #1 defense in the league on third down. You give up 16 points. That should be enough to win you a game. And it's just so frustrating that with all of this money that you've spent on the offensive side of the ball, that you can't score more than 10 points against a very crummy Colts defense. You know, to me, there are multiple people that should be held accountable. And frankly, Mike, I don't think Tua's good enough, even if he plays like he did last year, to pull this team back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they're going to the playoffs this year. I think, I know a lot of fans look at the schedule and go, oh, look at the schedule coming up. We got a bunch of easy games. I think we had our easiest games. Jacksonville stinks. Tennessee, Mason Rudolph at home, they stink. We had the Patriots, which they won, they stink. But the next time we play them, they're going to have May at quarterback, who's got a little bit of spunk. Actually, it might put up a little bit more of a fight at least. And then who else? And then the Indianapolis Colts, who looked like they never played offense before without Jonathan Taylor. Those were the easy games. The games coming up, yes, we have the Raiders, we have the Patriots again. Outside of that, I think the Jets, they're at least competitive. I mean, you got the Rams are competitive. The Bills, we know. Houston, we know. The Packers, we know. Like, the easy part of the schedule already happened. It's only going to get tougher. But two things from that game. Well, I think why it's frustrating for fans of the Dolphins, and we know this now, and you can't go back in a time machine and change it. You look at all these games around the league, and so many teams win games with backup quarterbacks. And with Miami, it seems like if number one's not out there, sorry, unless we're playing the Patriots and they can't, and they're worse than us, we can't even score more than 10 points. And, holding people accountable, the one question, if I own this team, whose idea was it to not invest more in the backup quarterback spot? Because even, and if they say, well, we had Mike White, then why'd you cut him? And if Mike White's so good, why is he not even on a team right now? He's on a practice squad. There's no good answer that they can give. The lack of a number 2 quarterback has essentially just ended the season. That's number one. Number 2, Alec Ingold. Everyone likes Alec Ingold. Great guy, Alec Ingold. Nice guy off the field. There's a lot in the just in South Florida. Awesome. And I know fans always get excited when you get the fullback involved, but he was involved. Now he's getting involved a little too much. He's not Larry Csonka. He's Alec Ingold. You want to give him the ball here or there, it's fine. But it seems like now they're giving the ball. You got 3 good running backs, like you said. You can't go on first down. You go into Alec Ingold. I mean, here's a question. Mike McDaniel. The bloom is off the rose, I would say, clearly, with Mike McDaniel now. I'm not going to go on the hot seat, not hot seat, because he just signed a long-term deal.
Yeah, he's
not, because he just signed a long-term deal. But how much faith do you have in him as a head coach right now? Because right now, he's got a lot to prove.
He does. And, Tua's been his calling card, and we've said many times that he's the perfect coach for Tua. However, he hasn't been coaching Tua, and we've seen a lot of holes in the play calling. We've seen Mike McDaniel over the first 3 years, make a lot of mistakes, and we knew that there would be growing pains because he had never been a head coach before. But to me, if you look at this tree, which is arguably who you're going to compare him to off of the Washington staff, where it's been Kyle Shanahan, who he worked for in San Francisco. You've got Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. You've got Sean McVay in Los Angeles. I mean, these guys have all figured it out. And right now, Mike McDaniel hasn't. And you hear him talk to the players, and he's kind of got this new little look this year where he's taking the hat off, let the hair go long. But, I mean, you see his eyes, and you see that he's so tired. It's almost like this is eating him alive. And it's really tough. Like, he is so good to the players. He says all of the right things. The locker room loves playing for him. But the reality is it's different when you're not producing wins. And here you are again with the top 5 defense, and you're supposed to be this offensive guru, and you simply haven't delivered. So here we are with Tua. From everything that we've heard, he is 100%. Again, no doctor told him to retire. But the reality is he hasn't played football competitively in a month and a half. And we don't know what he's going to be against a Cardinals team who, isn't great, but this is a game that you should win. You're at home. It's a very winnable game. Now you lose this game and go to 2-5.
And Buffalo.
And at that point, Mike, I'm almost wondering, do you bench Tua for the rest of the year?
Well, look, after what he said at his media session on Monday, the answer is clearly no. Because, I mean, I think, look, it's, again, as we've said 100 times, I know I've said it at least, his body, his choice, he wants to play great. Go for it, play. It doesn't change what the team might have to do after the year and how they sort of put together the pieces of this team and what, not so much as futures, but yeah, there might be a more viable number 2. They're not going to push him, but who's going to be there in the room now because of this and stuff like that. But don't bench him because we got to know if he can take a hit. I mean, which $250 million contract, March 14th, $54 million becomes fully all guaranteed. They really have to make a call by March 14th. And we got to know if this guy, because the last few hits that have injured him with the head injury were just routine hits. If he gets another routine hit and it causes another concussion, that kind of makes a very easy call for the Miami Dolphins. Like, we can't keep moving forward like this. It's not working. And if he's not going to help himself by wearing the
Guardian helmet.
Yes, that. I think, what can you do? I mean, he's got to help himself a little bit here. That was made for people like him who are in this type of situation. I understand he doesn't want to wear it. I'm not saying he has to wear it. Again, his body, his choice. He can do whatever he wants. But it just, if you don't wear it and you do get another one, it's tough to have a lot of sympathy at that point. It's like, dude, everyone's trying to help you. If you're not going to take the helping hand.
Yeah. I mean, what stood out to me, the phrase, I don't know if he meant to say it this way or it was a Freudian slip. I love this game to the death of me.
Yeah, I know. Poor choice of words.
And look, I get it. You know, there was an interview with Troy Polamalu, and he talks about in Samoan culture where, you know, you fight for your family on the battlefield until the end. Like, that's it. Like, almost like the 300 Spartan situation where it's a glorious death. And I mean, I understand we're talking about a movie here, but versus Tua in real life. And there is long-term concern. And Tua said he thanks everybody, but, you know, this is what he wants to do. I just, you know, even in that first game against the Jaguars, when everything was healthy, I understand that we had the Tyreek Hill situation before the game. But that offense did not look good at all.
One play the whole game. Whole game.
And I mean, that's all that we have to go off of, which was the number one offense the season before. Well, you know, we've talked about how defenses have figured this out, this outside zone read, where they've moved a linebacker to the edge, or they put two high safeties, and they've figured out how to kind of stop this thing. And we've talked, Mike, at length about how almost Mike McDaniel's too smart and he overthinks his stuff. And here's a game against the Cardinals where you obviously have had a plan in the back of your mind with Tua, knowing that he's coming back to really set him up for success. And if Tua can place the ball where he needs to place it, again, you should score more than 20 points. And the way that this top 5 defense is playing, it should be enough to win. So to me, there's no excuses if you lose this game. And then, like you said, it only gets harder going to Buffalo. And then from there, the bye week's already been used. You've got 12
at the Rams, cross-country flight at the Rams.
You know, and you're getting Cooper Kupp back most likely from that. Puka Nakua's window's also open, so they're getting people back. You know, you lose Braxton Berrios for the season here with the ACL. I don't know how much that hurts you. You're just kind of hoping that Odell Beckham Jr. can do something in that third wide receiver role. You're probably going to see Malik Washington in the return game, but I mean, that's fine. So you have all your pieces minus Jaylen Phillips that you lost. So, you know, I mean, gosh, it's just like, why isn't this team clicking? And honestly, I think Mike McDaniel doesn't know the answer to that question. And to me, that's the biggest concern.
I think on a very simplistic level, just to bring it down, I think he built the offense for one quarterback, and if that quarterback's not out there, no one else can run it. I actually think it's a quick release, get the ball. You know, not everyone can get the ball out that fast. You get guys like Skylar Thompson and Huntley. Say what you want about him. I think Huntley is probably a number 2 quarterback in this league. The fact he was on a team's not on their roster, I think he is like a number 2 quarterback in this league, but he's not made for this type of offense. He's just not. And it's made for one guy. And if the one guy's not there, you're kind of screwed. Now, they have run the ball more, which is good because that offensive line is not a pass blocking offensive line, but it can run block in Miami. In the past 2 games, Patriots and the Colts, they've run the ball quite well. Now, I know it's the Patriots and the Colts, so take it with a grain of salt, but that's the type of offense they need to continue to run. So if they're going to play 2 high safeties and put some, like, keep running it down their throats. You got 3 good running backs. Run it down their throats, but now with a capable quarterback, you can hopefully take more chances off the running game, and that's the type of offense he probably should be running. We'll see if he does it though.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, if you want to Mike McDaniel-fy it, you know, here's Tua back in and the defensive coordinator from the other teams saying, all right, you know, they're wanting to get Waddle and Reek the ball, so here's an opportunity to run the ball more. You know, just depending on what defenses are in front of you. So to me, this needs to be a Mike McDaniel masterclass. You're hoping that Tua can be average. If Tua can throw for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, that should be enough to win you this game. And you just keep Kyler Murray in the pocket. You know, you hope that he doesn't have a 50-yard touchdown run. You know, I would love to see Jalen Ramsey match up here with Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to worry about the tight end and McBride, but there's not a whole lot here that's going to scare you. James Conner has been doing it at a high level for a long time, but I mean, their pieces are far less superior than the pieces that the Dolphins have. So, this should be a win. And I mean, from a media perspective, Tua come back, play savior. Oh, we're 3-4, but I don't know. This is going to be a very telling game for me.
I know Arizona doesn't have a great record. I think they're 500 now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They went to and I know San Fran's not like the San Fran, but they went to San Fran and won. San Fran still got talent, and they went to San Fran and won. And last night I saw a team down 2 minutes to go, march the field and score. And here's what I'll say. Anthony Weaver, I think, has done a fantastic job this far. Absolutely fantastic job. But we have to put it into context. He's also faced guys like Mason Rudolph, Jacoby Brissett, and Anthony Richardson, as well as Trevor Lawrence on a team that's really not that good this year. And Jacksonville, I want to see how Anthony Weaver does this next stretch of games with Murray, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford. Then we're really going to know. Because what I saw even last week versus the Colts, versus the Patriots, 7.9 yards per carry to Ramonde and Antonio Gibson. Okay. Yeah. Then last week, the Colts, no Jonathan Taylor. They gave up 5.4 yards a carry. I think Anthony Weaver's doing a good job. I think he needs more talent on that side because they can't tackle. It's not that they're in the wrong spot. They just can't wrap guys up. And what I saw from James Conner just last night alone, he's tough to bring down. It takes a few guys. So James Conner might have a day Sunday. But again, Arizona's going to get their points. They're going to score 20, 21 or so. If you're Miami, you better be 24 or up if you want any chance to win. You're not going to win games at 10 or so.
Yeah, but again, if Tua throws 2 touchdowns, you probably like to sneak in a field goal and you get a rushing touchdown from Achane or Moser. You're right there.
That's your recipe.
That's it. So 24-21. Great. 24-20. That's kind of where we're at. Yeah. To me, again, there should be no excuse. Like, it just show us now. Like, we've been waiting.
I mean, when he met with the media on Monday, Tua, and I get it, the last thing he wants to do is be talking about this. I understand that. But here's the other part. This franchise, it gave him $250 million of some sort of contract. I know it's not all at once. He got a $250 million contract. And they have stood by him through every injury he's had thus far, including this one. And I just thought it wasn't his finest hour. I understand you're angry, you're upset and stuff, but those are all fair questions. Nobody asked anything that was unfair. And people were just asking, like, we don't know. Tell us. And for him to be up there with so much attitude, I thought, what more does this organization have to do to stand by you and show you that they love you, including financially? Just stand up there and answer the questions. Be a little bit humble about it. Look, I understand the whole situation. I wish I wasn't in the situation, including the Guardian cap. You know what? I talked to the people. I did a bunch of research. And as of now, just be humble about it. He's like, no, I'm not going to wear it first. Why the attitude? That's what's I don't get it.
Yeah, Tua was salty. Salty Tua was a little different. I personally was not there, unfortunately, on Monday. So, I understand.
He doesn't want to answer it. But if you're going to sign the contract and take the money, and he said after he signed the contract, I'm the face of the franchise. If you want that spot, stand up there and just answer the questions.
Yeah, but Tua's honestly in the organization, they don't care what Tua says to the media. That's so far down the list.
I know it doesn't matter at the end of the day, but I just thought, as they always say sometimes,
Peyton Manning would not do that. Is a fair example. Aaron Rodgers would not do that. I'm immunized.
Yes. And plus everything I've seen today, Rich Eisen, Emmanuel Acho, all these guys, they're all saying dude, why are you so angry? It's just answer the questions. It's if you want the big boy,
fair point.
If you want the big money and you want that job and that role in that spot in the most popular sport in America, this comes with it. And those questions, that's South Florida media. They were outstanding on it because there was not one question wasn't asked that they asked every necessary question. And I thought everyone did a great job. Everyone did a great job in that room on Monday because there's a lot of questions about this and people are concerned and worried about them. No one wants to either turn on a game or head to Hard Rock Stadium and watch this happen again. People are legitimately worried just from a human element of this.
I mean, you still can't believe that the concussion was DeMar Hamlin was the player that made the hit. I
it
mean,
was just a routine tackle. It wasn't even anything.
but I mean, everything that he went through on the field to have him
Yeah.
and Tua collide in a situation like that with Roger Goodell in the building, it's. Yeah, I mean, you just hope that Tua can slide. You understand he was going for the first down. His body was in an awkward position. That's how he's rationalizing it. Look, I put myself in a bad spot that I never should have put myself in. That was the issue. That's what caused the concussion. But maybe a little bit different when somehow, Austin Jackson, who's now protecting his blind side, gets beat on that and Tua gets hit from behind. So, we'll see. I mean,
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Again, like
it's always interesting.
The Cardinals are on a short week, but yeah, there's really not even much to discuss anymore. It's just more of like, we know what it is. Now show us and let's see what can actually happen.
Al Davis, just win, baby. Just go out there and win. Nobody cares if it's pretty at this point, because when you're 2-4, I think it's a real uphill battle to make the playoffs, but they're not out of it because the AFC is a total mess, honestly. Outside of the top 4 teams, you got Kansas City, Ravens, Houston, and the Bills. Outside of those 4, you got 3 wild card spots. Pittsburgh might soon have one locked up because they're well on their way. But outside of that, the Chargers aren't nothing special. The Jets are a mess. Cincinnati, Cleveland are a mess. The whole South is a disaster. Like, yeah, if you win 7 more games, you could probably sneak in. The problem is, you got a tough schedule with some teams like Houston and the Packers and the Bills and the Rams, and that's not going to be easy. And you got to actually prove you can look good too, because they haven't looked good this season. And we're going on to week 8, and Arizona ain't awful. I'm not saying they're great, but you know what? We ain't great either, Miami. They're pretty much the same team here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, your run defense has been suspect. They've got James Conner. They've got Kyler Murray. I think, again, you're excited to see what Anthony Weaver can do. Special teams ranked second to last. Can't miss any more field goals. As of right now, we know that Blake Ferguson is still out. So
he's out for a month.
So that's there. So you've got your little bit more continuity with the new long snapper. Hopefully you don't have any more with Jason Sanders. You're paying him a lot of money. You're paying him Pro Bowl money to kick. So, he can't miss any more field goals. And, then you hope that you can get something going here in a return game or anything. But, yeah, to me, you lose this game, then you've got the Bills on the road. Then I believe it's the Monday night game in L.A. against the Rams. If you go 0-3 in that situation and you're 2-7, then it's
the worst. Here's what the NFL does not want, and either do the Dolphins. Thanksgiving night, Miami's 3-9 or something.
Yeah.
And it's NBC for 4 hours talking about concussions into his head. That's what the NFL. You rather have Miami be like close to 500 and just talk about the game, because if they're 3-9, nobody cares about the game, and all you're going to talk about is look at Tua. Let's hope he doesn't get hurt. Because what else are you going to talk about? Because they're out of it at that point. That's what the league does not want. They need Miami to win a couple for them to make that game not just be like dreadful on Thanksgiving when the world's watching.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about Jordan Love all you want. And
there's only so much.
They'll figure out how to talk about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and the Jets somehow.
Vince Lombardi. There's only so much Lombardi and Lambeau you can talk about.
Yeah, I'm just, it's kind of like I need to see a game from Tyreek Hill. I know that he's frustrated. Tyreek's probably the angriest person on this team, and he won't tell you that. But, he's run out of the locker room out of the last 2 losses and just disappeared. So, this guy's made the Pro Bowl every year that he's been a pro. I think it's 7 in a row. And right now it's nothing. So, come out, have a 100-yard game. And I'm sure the fantasy owners, would love to see him do something because he was a top 3
I took
pick.
him this year. I took number 1 overall.
Yeah, there you go. But like you said, this is Tua's offense. This offense was made for him by Mike McDaniel. So let's see if he can be the player that everyone expects him to be for that contract. And, it's interesting. Just what are you going to do? Because I think it could be a fire sale if you lose both of these games.
November 5th. That's the big day.
Election night.
And they got a few pieces they can move. They got pieces they can move, like we spoke about, who can get back like a 5th rounder, 6th rounder. But they got one piece that we've always spoken about who could bring back much more than that. And Javon Holland, which we don't even know if he's playing this week either, because they're probably going to need him. We'll see. So we'll see. It's always interesting with Miami, never boring. But Arizona this week, Hard Rock Stadium. I think it's their last home game for like a few more weeks. I mean, they started off at home for 2, and then they had the Tennessee one. So 3 of the first 4 at home, but they've been on the road for a while with the bye. I think the next one's the Patriots after this, right?
The next home game is Vegas in Week 11, and then the Patriots following that. Then they go to Green Bay. So
they got a couple weeks after this on the road. So they were on the road for 2 in a bye. Then after this one, they got on the road for 2. So you got to win your home game. Any chance of anything, you got to protect your house. So we'll see. Everyone, be sure to follow Josh Moser on Twitter at @themosnose, and of course, watch him in South Florida on WSVN, South Florida's #1 news station. And we'll be back next week, hopefully talking about a Miami Dolphins win and have some more positive things to talk about. This isn't fun to talk about losses. It's not, but what are we going to do? Lie and talk about stuff saying they did look good even though they scored 10. We can't do that. So everyone, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, take care.